So Donald Trump really does not want Gen Z to buy a home. I don't think he really wants anybody to buy a home unless your name begins with black and ends with rock. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, my name is Dr. Ian Phillips, and I saw this clip of Trump today, and this is on Fox News. I just saw it on Twitter, and he's essentially saying that if we build more housing, the price of homes will go down, and homeowners will lose their wealth, and so therefore we shouldn't build more homes. Which is absolutely insane. And so I want to talk about that a little bit here today. But we're going to play the clip first, and then we'll give you the 2 cents.
On housing, you talked in your address last night about housing.
Yeah.
Are you still considering a national emergency over housing?
I'm looking at it.
What would that look like? What would that mobilize?
You know, there's two thoughts on housing. You have a lot of people have housing that because we have such a strong time and such a strong market there, houses are very valuable. It's a big part of their net worth, their house. I don't want to knock those numbers down because I want them to continue to have a big value for the house. At the same time, I want to make it possible for young people out there and other people to buy housing. In a way, they're at conflict. In other words, you create a lot of housing all of a sudden and it drives the housing prices down. So I want to take care of the people that have houses that have a value to the house that they never thought possible, that have sort of made them wealthy and happy, and especially in their later years. Got to be careful with that. I want to keep them up. At the same time, I want to make it possible for people to go buy houses. Daniel, please.
I mean, so obviously, I don't think that, we should be treating houses as something that, look, you should be totally disposable. You put all your money into this, it's now it should be worth nothing. No, nobody's saying that. And first of all, that wouldn't happen anyways. I mean, if you were to inflate the number of houses, basic economics here, guys. If you were to inflate the number of houses, right, that means that the supply is going to go up, but the demand is still the same. And so that means that if you have a higher supply, demand is the same, that prices in theory would go down a little bit. But really, when you're thinking about population increase, whether that's through just, the general birth rate or whether that's through immigration, what we're really doing is probably just going to slow down that increase in home value, right? Which is probably a good thing. Because home values have spiked tremendously here. And this is a result of, a lot of speculation where the supply has been artificially just, dragged down, or not even really just artificially dragged down. I guess technically artificially dragged down, but really through a lot of these giant investment companies. When you start treating housing as not as necessarily just a place to live, but more so as an investment, you have these massive companies going up and buying them up in droves. And then now they're going to rent them out to people for a higher price than what the house is, really worth. And so now people are being squeezed for every last dollar that they have. And what it really does is prices out a lot of first-time home buyers, as well as the younger generation. But really just anybody in general. They just happen to be the ones who get hurt the most. And so I found this really good graph here, and we can show you guys just how bad of a problem this is. And I'm sure everybody's probably seen this before, but it really just shows the true extent of the issue here. And so if you look at the median home price here in 1985, as well as median income, you can see it's about 3.6 times the cost of income. So if you let's say you make $10,000, right, that means that on average a home is going to cost you $36,000, which is that's doable. That is doable, right? But now as of 2023, and it's only gotten worse these past couple of years. You can see the number. It's 5.3 times, right? Which is just astronomical, right? So we're pricing people out of the market here, and we're forcing them to be long-term renters as opposed to owning that home, because wages they're simply not keeping up with the price of these housing increases here. And so this is a good article here I saw, and it's from a guy named Felix Richter. And I'll read out a nice little paragraph that he said for you guys in his little article here, because I think it's really telling. And so he said, quote, "Looking at prices and income alone, houses have gradually become less affordable over the last 40 years. In 1985, the median household income in the United States was $23,620. The median price of new houses sold at that time was $84,300, or 3.6 times the median income. In 2000, the ratio of home prices to median income reached 4 for the first time, and by 2023, it had climbed to 5.3. So between 1985 and 2023, the median household income in the United States grew 241% to $80,610 in normal terms, and the median price of houses sold in the country climbed 408% over the same period, reaching $428,600 in 2023." End quote. So things are not looking good, ladies and gentlemen. And again, these are numbers here from the U.S. Census Bureau, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. These are not just like made up figures here. Again, you can see where this graph's data is actually coming from. And it's really bad, and I can think back to, like my grandfather talking, for example, and he said that when he first moved to this country, because he was an immigrant, he said that, like, sometimes it wouldn't even make sense just to repair cars. You just go out and buy one because things were so cheap. And like the same would be like true for housing, just in like, and obviously it's like metaphorical to a large degree, obviously. Like, you're not just going to go, buy a new car because your tires broke, for example. But, it just goes to show like the mentality. It's like these things were a lot cheaper, a lot cheaper. And, there's arguments on both sides. I've seen people, I think it was like Ben Shapiro, for example, mentioning this, or somebody, maybe it was like Steven Crowder. I don't know who it was, but it was one of these like big conservative talk show people. And they're like, okay, well, like houses tend to be bigger on average now. Like if you're a first time home buyer, you tend to buy a larger house now. So therefore the price of housing should go higher. And it's like, okay, yeah, I guess technically speaking, right, you'd pay that premium for that extra square footage and maybe those extra acres in your yard. But the fact remains here is that income is not keeping up with the median price of the house. You cannot ignore that, right? And now we've gotten to the point where the bloody president of the United fucking States of America is ignoring that problem too. You just look at this guy, man. He don't give a fuck, dude. He does not give a fuck about the average person, right? He would rather protect the people who already currently own houses, which are a lot of his, billionaire donors and whatnot, who don't want to see their investments go down. If everybody has a lot more housing in the country, and again, you'd have to do these things on such a large scale, but obviously that'd be great for the economy, where you can start putting people to work, you can start training people to be inside of the trades, making a good living. Isn't this how like we got out of the Great Depression, for example? Did FDR not put all these Americans to work and really start to help jumpstart that economy? Then that really kicked off once the World War started. We got to put ourselves into a fight or flight mode almost, right? Because that's the dire situation that we are in at this moment. It's not looking good, and so this is a bad place to be in here. And protecting wealth by keeping housing scarce, just sort of shifts that cost on to like the renters and first time buyers. I can't say it enough here. But what's going to be done about it? Probably nothing. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you did enjoy, please hit that like and subscribe button. I think that's probably a solid place to end. I can't really add too much more here to this little story, but hopefully you guys did enjoy today. Try to get us to 400 subscribers. If you have any feedback for me, leave it down in the comments below, and we'll talk to you soon, ladies and gentlemen.